He is a blind masseur. His main job is to help customers relax and massage their muscles and bones. But the problem is, his eyes can actually see. There is even a hidden camera attached to the button on his neck. That's right, massage is just a side job. His main job is to use massage to secretly film the private lives of rich people, then find ways to make more profit. Today, someone called him to this villa in the suburbs. The villa is large, but from the outside it feels gloomy. But anyway, he has arrived. He rings the bell. After waiting for a long time, someone opens the door. It is a man around 30, it must be said that his appearance is very outstanding, he looks like a famous actor. Okay, anyway, he is still pretending to be blind, don't pay too much attention, or he will be suspected. Luckily, he is wearing sunglasses, so the man did not notice. The man spoke, his voice calm, "My wife has been waiting for you for a long time, please come in." Still keeping his professional smile, he replied, "I'm sorry, there was a bit of traffic jam, so the assistant delivered the goods late, making me late." While speaking, he glanced around. Such a large villa, it must belong to a wealthy family, but it seemed lifeless, and there were no servants. Because the villa was located in the suburbs, surrounded by only gardens. When the villa was closed, the outer gate also locked automatically. It's okay, please come in, let me help you." The blind man threw the bag down in a corner and walked inside. He could only use his cane to feel the way, walking slowly into the hall. Then, he slowly continued walking. His eyes glanced up at the bed. He only saw a woman's body lying down, from the neck up, covered by a thick cloth. Clearly this is a corpse, and not an intact corpse. What is going on? His heart trembled, but he still tried to calm down. The man helped put away the bag and said, "My wife has had back pain for a long time, I'm really troubling you. Focus on the back and waist, no need for the neck. You're used to it, is there any problem?" This is his wife? This woman is the proof that his wife is still alive. What a big guts. If there is a little carelessness, or it is exposed, there will definitely be a price to pay. So he pretended to be a perfect blind man. Even though he had prepared well, at this moment, his heart still couldn't help but flutter. The man had handled it so perfectly. The woman was clearly dead. Lying face down, from the neck down, only smooth skin was visible, the wound was also firmly bandaged. There was no blood, no signs of collision or struggle. His entire back was cold. If he showed any abnormality, he would definitely be killed. But this woman's skin was exactly like a living person. Clenching his teeth to keep calm, he didn't dare to show any emotion. He was secretly lucky that everything hadn't been revealed. The man was very calm and polite, saying, "Teacher, please help my wife massage her back and waist." He also smiled professionally, replying, "No problem, just leave it to me." According to the rules, one must communicate with customers. So he also smiled, turned to the unresponsive woman and asked, "Madam, is this force satisfactory?" Unexpectedly, the man was startled, his whole body shaking slightly. Hastily replied, "Teacher, my wife is a bit weak, just massage with moderate force. Focus on the back, the neck is too sensitive, no need to massage." The blind man happily nodded, "Okay, I will try my best to relax your back." The man was a little relieved. At this moment, he definitely had no doubts about his blindness. Moreover, because he was afraid of touching the neck, the man emphasized once more. As long as he did not cause conflict, the chance of overcoming this situation was very high. The blind man adjusted his emotions, and began to massage the back of that corpse. The smile was still on his lips, but his heart was as tense as a string. The man also sat next to him, always observing. It seemed like the two of them could maintain this state until everything ended. Unexpectedly, he discovered another woman. With a fierce look, his eyes were like daggers. Something had happened. The man immediately stood up and walked towards the woman. The blind man tried to stay calm and continued massaging, but his heart was increasingly chaotic. Even though he was wearing sunglasses, his eyes could not be hidden. But from somewhere, he caught a suspicious gaze. Could it be that he had been discovered? His scalp was numb, but his skills were still stable. He tried his best to keep his hands from shaking. The man seemed to have noticed something unusual and kept glancing at the bag. But the woman standing there did not move. The silence was terrifying, her eyes were cold. To break the strange atmosphere, he turned around and smiled friendly. "First, can you help me get the bottle of skincare oil in my bag? The bottle has a tiger-shaped cap. Because I'm blind, I can't easily determine the location of my surroundings. Even the massage oil bottle is specially made, and can only be recognized by touching the shape." The man hurriedly replied, "Okay, wait a moment, I'll get it right away." But the woman took another step forward, not just one, but two. Immediately, he felt nervous. Because in her hand was a knife. There was still blood on the knife that had not been wiped clean. This was the murder weapon of the woman? The blind man was afraid of being discovered, but he couldn't do anything else. He could only smile, holding out his hand in a position like he was receiving a bottle of oil. The woman was getting closer and closer. The knife also slowly raised. Even if he dodged the knife, it would be useless. Once he was discovered that he wasn't blind, both of them would immediately attack, and their chances of survival were almost zero. Suddenly, the blind man realized. This was a battle of wits. He looked in the direction he had just heard the man's voice, trying to prove that he was not afraid at all, because he really couldn't see anything. Holding the knife was not to attack immediately, but to see if he was panicking. If he was afraid, then there was definitely something suspicious. He calmly asked, "Excuse me, did you find the tiger-shaped cap oil bottle?" "I found it." The man holding the oil bottle stood up straight. The blind man still held his hand out. At the same time, the woman's knife tip almost touched his temple. The man was clearly frightened, took a deep breath, and was even a little embarrassed. The woman gritted her teeth, but in the end did not stab him in the head. He did not stop, calmly saying, "Thank you. I will continue to massage your wife, to avoid her getting cold." "Okay, okay." The man quickly handed him the oil bottle, then he pulled the woman holding the knife aside. Only when he turned to face the woman's corpse did he breathe a sigh of relief. When he poured the oil, his hands were shaking. But the danger was not yet resolved. Because right after that, there was a sound of typing. The two were texting each other. Could it be that they were still suspicious? Sure enough, it wasn't that simple. Just a few minutes after using the massage oil, the two of them acted strangely. They stood close to each other, the woman still kept her cold gaze on him. The man held a glass of wine, whistling and pretending to be very busy. But his eyes were full of vigilance. As expected, the man aimed at the moment when he was concentrating, and suddenly threw the wine at him. Of course, he didn't dodge, just naturally pretending to be startled. "Oh?" He took a step back, still keeping his composure. The man quickly apologized, sorry, I was about to pour the wine when I tripped and spilled it." But the man pulled his hand, saying as he pulled, "Quickly, go to the bathroom and wash up, my wife needs to be clean." Not giving him a chance to react, the man dragged him into the bathroom. He could only follow and reply, okay. "There's a sink in there, clean it up, then come back and take care of my wife." With that, the man turned and left. The woman didn't follow. This situation was completely normal. So when he entered the bathroom, he still used both hands to grope, searching for the sink. But when he looked up, he was stunned. Because on the shelf above the sink was a head. Full of blood, messy hair. That head seemed to be staring at him, even though there was no one in the bathroom, he guessed. There was a surveillance camera, or at least it was being recorded. So he quietly washed away the wine stains, keeping an extremely calm attitude, so that even if someone looked in, they wouldn't be able to detect anything unusual. But he knew in his heart that if they continued to experiment, sooner or later, they would be exposed. He had to think of a way to get out of this situation. After washing up, he didn't immediately go back to massaging. Instead, he took out his phone. Blind people also use phones, it's just that they can't see the screen. As expected, within a few seconds, the man and woman immediately appeared in front of the bathroom door. He guessed right. The bathroom had a camera, and they discovered that he had taken out his phone. If he tried to contact someone, they would definitely take action immediately. So he shouted, "Hey Siri, what time is it now?" The machine answered, "It's 6:30 now." He put away his phone, muttering, "It's been more than half an hour, it's a bit late today, but it's not my fault." After the act was over, they probably became much less suspicious. Then, he walked out, through the wall. The other two did not stop him either. After walking a few steps, he stopped at the right time and asked, "Excuse me, is there anything you can take home?" "Thank you." Just a few seconds later, both of them immediately turned back. The man replied, "Okay, wait a moment, I'll bring it over right away." In this way, the situation was stable. The two of them probably no longer had any doubts. At that moment, he remembered the man surnamed Yang, a bearded man. This guy was originally introduced as an assistant, but in reality he was a partner, even a leader. They specialized in collecting confidential personal information, then selling it or using it for blackmail. But they were like two grasshoppers on the same string. Yang was waiting for him outside the villa. The man brought him back to the living room, leading him to the woman's corpse. He continued to massage. Obviously, the man and the woman were completely convinced that he was really blind. But he kept thinking. Who is the real customer? Why is he threatening him? Or maybe, this is just another way of testing them? Although the method is very rough, in reality, it doesn't reveal anything. He could only follow the order to complete the massage. Strangely, this time everything went very smoothly, without any further incidents. The work was over. The man sent him off to the yard, asking, "How are you planning to go back?" "I have an assistant with me. Let me call him to pick me up." As he spoke, he took out his phone. "Hey Siri, call Yang." Immediately, the phone rang in the courtyard of the villa. He was stunned. Yang was clearly outside the villa. How could the phone be here? Hurriedly explained, the assistant must have dropped the phone in the yard just now, and didn't notice. The man was also confused. What? Did your assistant come with you too? If Yang was really in the yard, then there was only one possibility. Yang was harmed. Perhaps when the man led him into the room, the woman tricked Yang into coming in and murdered him. But the man didn't show any clear attitude. If they had killed Yang, why did they leave the phone behind? If they wanted to kill him, there was no need to make this drama. The man came forward to hold his hand and said, "It's okay, don't worry. Maybe your assistant went somewhere. Let me help you find her." Okay. The space was silent. He thought he had escaped this hellish place, but he didn't expect to have to come back. As a blind man, he really had no other choice. Returning to the living room, the man was still supporting him. This made him feel even more dangerous. Because in this villa, besides the woman who seemed mentally unstable, was there anything else more terrifying? If she suddenly attacked with a knife, he wouldn't be able to do anything. Worse, anything could happen. He couldn't call the police, nor could he ask for help. Because, he was blind. He could only observe silently. Thanks to that, he noticed a wedding photo on a shelf in the living room. In the photo, it was a man and a woman. It turned out that they were husband and wife. Could it be that he had misunderstood everything from the beginning? The dead woman was not the man's wife. Instead, she was the real wife. Then, who was the dead woman? He suddenly realized that what happened in this villa was not simple. But no matter what, as long as he could get out, wouldn't it be better? And this was a good opportunity. Because in the villa right now, there was only the woman left. If he could subdue her and get the key, he would be able to leave. Even though her mental state was unstable, she was still just a woman. He stood up, deliberately dropping his walking stick, pretending to search, while saying loudly, "Excuse me, where is the restroom?" There was no response. Of course, he wasn't really looking for the restroom, but instead walked in another direction. The woman must be disposing of the corpse of a deceased person. After walking for a while, he saw a large suitcase placed near the bathroom. This suitcase was as expected, it was a tool to dispose of the body. The head that was placed in the sink earlier would definitely be thrown into this suitcase. Calmly, he opened the suitcase. But inside, there was no one. Where was the woman? Just as he was about to turn around, a discovery stunned him. He heard strange sounds. The noise came from the direction of the stairs. Step by step, he walked towards the sound. The closer he got, the clearer the sound became. It was the sound of something heavy being slammed down, emitting a dull sound. When he climbed a few steps, he saw. Upstairs, the woman was being brutally beaten. She was lying flat on the floor, her eyes were dull, with only a little bit of life left. The man was using a glass ashtray, hitting her hard on the back of the head. Blood was flowing everywhere. But her eyes were still staring at him. Aware of the situation, the blind man retreated towards the stairs. Because he had realized. The murderer was that man. He quietly retreated, trying not to make any noise, but the more he retreated, the more confused his mind became. That man, he was definitely the one who killed the woman. But the problem was, he had clearly seen this person carrying him out of the villa just now. How did he suddenly appear upstairs? Could there be a secret passage in the villa? At that moment, he heard footsteps. He understood that he had to find a place to hide. But where could he hide? Right next to the stairs, there was a room that looked like a storage room. With no other choice, he quickly crawled in. The footsteps gradually got closer. The slow and gloomy footsteps made him shiver. The footsteps suddenly stopped. The man did not say a word, but he did not rush forward, as if he was searching for something but could not find it. Before he could observe carefully, a voice came from outside the room. "Dude, have you found an assistant yet? Is there any other way to contact him?" His acting was truly skillful. If you did not witness him killing someone with your own eyes, you would not be able to notice the abnormality in his voice. Of course, the blind man did not reply. Thinking quickly in his mind, could he counterattack him now? Never mind the relationship between the female corpse and the wife. In any case, if he had killed someone, it was clear that only he was left in this villa. And he had the advantage. In the darkness, as a blind man, he could easily take advantage of it to counterattack. But the man's tone suddenly changed, becoming cold and stern. "You're not blind. If you were really blind, I would have spared your life, but now." The man was so scary, unable to hesitate any longer. The blind man turned around and hit him hard with his stick. He was startled and quickly raised his hand to block it. Luckily, the stick hit his wrist holding the ashtray, causing it to fall. He immediately swung the stick, aiming at his head. But hesitated. Although he was not a good person, if he had to kill someone, he really wouldn't dare. But in just a moment of distraction, he was kicked by the man, hitting his head on the ground and losing consciousness. When he woke up, he found himself sitting on a chair, his whole body tied tightly to the back of the chair, unable to move. The man standing in front of him smiled sinisterly. "Wake up, you're about to die anyway, I'll tell you a story." The man slowly spoke as if he was recalling, "That year, Sang and I studied at the same university, we loved each other deeply, just waiting for graduation to get married. But unexpectedly this woman appeared. She was Luke Chi, the heiress of the Luke family, a powerful, but also infamous family. She used the lives of my family and Sang's family to threaten me to marry her. Sang was extremely miserable, and from then on we lost contact. I thought that since I had already married her, I would just live well with her. But she was a madwoman, a perverted woman. Just because she saw me talking to a maid once, she broke the maid's legs and took pleasure in controlling and humiliating me. She brought me to this villa and seemed to confine me here, because she thought that only if she needs me to contact another woman, I will leave her. She installed cameras in all the bathrooms in the house. Don't you think she is too perverted? There was a time when I thought I would rather die than endure this humiliation anymore. But then I accidentally discovered a secret room in the villa. I also found a diary of her mother. It turned out that her mother's family had a genetic disease called mad blood. When faced with something stimulating, they would not be able to control themselves, would become crazy and kill people regardless. That year, when her mother discovered her father was having an affair, she became crazy and killed all the servants in the house and then committed suicide. Before committing suicide, she wrote everything down in this diary, probably so that her daughter would know the truth later. I also heard an old servant accidentally reveal before, her father really disliked this daughter, but he couldn't give birth to any other children, so he had to let her inherit. I don't know if she knows about the existence of this book or not, but I think she doesn't know about this secret room and even less that it can lead outside, so I can escape this way. I went to find Sang, we decided to escape together. But thinking carefully, I saw that we couldn't escape her, so I had to go back and set up a more perfect plan. She had to die. She only came back here on weekends. Today, like every other time, she came back. She said that today she would give me a gift. I didn't care much. I gave her a glass of water with sleeping pills, because I was sure that she didn't know that I could escape so she wouldn't be on guard. After she fell into a coma, I took her to the secret room and locked her there forever. Even if the police come here, they won't find anything. And wait a few days, when everyone believes that she has completely disappeared, I will be completely free and inherit all of her assets, Sang, and I can live the life we want. Ha 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 ha, the man laughed a long laugh and then cried, but the truth is not always as perfect as imagined. Because I was too tired, I fell asleep. When I woke up I went to the bedroom. I saw a person lying on the bed covered with a blanket. A feeling of insecurity rose in my heart. I slowly approached. The closer I got the colder and colder it felt. My hands trembled, slowly lifting the blanket. A horrifying scene appeared before my eyes. It was Sang. She was lying on the bed but her head and neck were completely severed. Her face was pale and bloodless. My heart was broken. A voice rang out behind me, "Like it, this is my gift to you." I slowly turned to look at her with resentful eyes. She laughed mockingly. "Do you think I don't know? You're so naive. Do you know why my father always hates me but I'm still alive today? Do you know why my father can't have any more children? Living with cruel people, you have to be more cruel than them. Since you left this villa, I've known that wherever you go, whatever you do, you can't escape my palm. The girl you love shouldn't have died, but it was you harmed her, ha 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 ha, but don't worry, I won't kill you, because..." She slowly approached, lifted my chin and spoke in a whisper, "Because I still love you very much. Now I will give you a chance, find a way to destroy this corpse and we will return to the way we were before, as if nothing had happened." The blood in my heart was boiling, a feeling of disgust rose. I only thought that today I must live and die with her, even if my chances of winning were very small. Because she always put drugs in my food. Once I use my strength, my body will be in pain. I can't do anything to her. But I don't care anymore. I'd rather die here today than let her have her way. Suddenly the doorbell rang. Both she and I were surprised, because this villa had almost never had anyone come before. She signaled me to go out and take a look. Standing on the balcony looking down, I saw him. Maybe he came to the wrong address, because she definitely never called a masseuse here. But a thought suddenly flashed. I will use him to distract her attention, find a chance to kill her. Anyway, he is a blind person who cannot see anything. I told her that maybe the blind man got the wrong address, but I wanted to give Sang a massage before destroying her body. I said in an extremely painful tone. She looked at me with a bit of doubt but still agreed, maybe because she thought he was blind, or maybe she wanted to see what time I was planning. Or maybe she wanted to play with me because she believed she would control everything in the palm of her hand. The end result you already know. It was her confidence that killed her. And I also have to thank you, maybe because she suspected you were pretending to be blind, all her attention was focused on you. That's why I had the chance to take action. Oh, and your friend named Duong. Now it's probably more bad than good, but don't worry, after you die, I will bury everything in a secret room. On the 1st and 15th of the lunar month I will worship you all. As for me, I will inherit her property, although it's not luxurious anymore, at least I'm free." Saying that, the man raised the knife in his hand and prepared to stab down. The blind man painfully closed his eyes waiting for death. But he heard a thud, suddenly opened his eyes, and saw the man lying on the ground, and Duong holding the blind man's cane standing behind him, panting. Not long after, the police arrived, took statements from Duong and the blind man. The man was handcuffed and led away. The blind man asked Duong, "How did you escape?" Duong replied, "She tricked me into coming in and then used a stick to hit me from behind. At that time I was in a daze, but understood that I needed to pretend to be dead. Maybe because I was in such a hurry, she only checked my breathing. When she believed that I was dead, she left, but I was unconscious for quite a while, before I woke up." Then Duong looked at the blind man and sighed, "Sigh, our business can't continue anymore." The blind man bowed his head and thought. Actually, the man was really pitiful. He could have lived a normal life and built a happy family with the person he loved. Was it because of his outstanding appearance or because of the psychological distortions of the so-called upper class? This world is really too complicated.